Hello there, nice slice here, coming at you from beautiful British Columbia, Canada. True North, strong and free. Well, it's a Tuesday evening. I only worked a 10-hour shift today, so I'm home, a little earlier than normal. So I had a little bit of time on my hands, and it's Tuesday. So I thought I haven't done a 2 for Tuesday in quite a long time. So I think I'll do a 2 for Tuesday tonight. So the two knives I'm going to talk about are these two here. But first, I just wanted to mention, here's my PM3, Spyderco PM3 with the spider edge. This is the lightweight, great knife, really like it. And I just wanted to keep you updated. My other PM3 with the S110V did get sent to Spyderco for warranty evaluation because of that large chip at the very tip of the edge of the blade. I was thinking about just sharpening it out myself, and then I thought, I paid good money for that knife, and I thought I'd send it in to Spyderco, see what they're going to do. And when I went on their website and I read their warranty, it is fairly restrictive. There's a lot of do's and don'ts with a Spyderco knife. Could very easily void a warranty. Like disassembling, reassembling, modifying, which I get. If you modify something, you're taking your chances on whether they're going to warranty it or not. I don't think disassembly, is necessarily a reason to void a warranty if you know what you're doing and you do it properly. The knife is built to be taken apart and cleaned. It's made in a U.S. product. They should have no problem with that. But I was disappointed with that S110V, to say the least. I'd only had that knife like less than 3 weeks. Hardly cut anything with it. But that's part of what I wanted to talk about here for 2 for Tuesday. So a couple weeks ago, I went to the Abbotsford Flea Market in the Lower Mainland, British Columbia here, and I saw a vendor that I see quite often at the Cloverdale Flea Market, and I rummaged through his box of gas station knives, and what do I find in there? I find a couple of beauty made in the U.S. Kershaws, right? So there's the Blur Ken Onion design, just a tank of a knife. These things, they are spring assisted. Listen to that action is just great. This thing was dirty and dull. I put it on my stones, and it's got a pretty good edge there. I could probably refine it a little bit more. See if I can get that to focus for you. But my stones brought that edge back to life. It is a little tricky with the recurve on a square stone, but I think I did pretty well there. This knife is in excellent shape. I paid 40 Canadian dollars for this knife, which is a steal. I've been packing that in the truck with me for a few days. The only thing I'm not too keen on is the tip down pocket clip, but you know what? I've decided that tip down prevents you from reaching in and accidentally deploying that in your pocket. So maybe that's a good thing, because there is no other option for that clip. But I've owned a couple of Kershaw Blurs before. I have sold both of them to people who wanted them more than I did. If you watch my channel long enough, I don't like to pay full retail for anything, and I have never done that with a Blur. So I haven't lost money on one, but I haven't made money either. If somebody wants it, I'll sell it to them for what I paid. So for the most part. And then I saw this. This is the Kershaw Dividend. Now, this thing, I couldn't believe it when I saw it in the box. This has the odd-looking blade, which is a composite. The top half of the blade is N690 Bowler, very good stainless steel. And then the cutting edge here is a CPM D2. So it's not your standard D2. It is a CPM, crucible powdered metallurgy, D2. So that puts it, you know, shall we say, a cut above the regular D2. There you can see right there, it says CPM D2. And these things, you know, brand new in Canada here, they retail for $270. And again, I paid 40 bucks for this knife. This thing was dirty, gunky. It wouldn't deploy properly. Again, spring assisted, right? It was just grody, full of crap in there. And it was dull, dull, dull. But, you know, I brought it home on the workbench here at Kitchen Table Studios, and I spent all of 3 minutes cleaning it up. Oh, and the pocket clip was very loose, you know, so I tightened that up. I cleaned up the pivot area, and that is snappy as all get out now. And again, it was dull, so I put that on the stones, and this thing took a wicked edge. That is sharp, sharp, sharp. But I did discover that the pocket clip, I'm just going to close that again, stands away from the body of the knife. So much so that it won't grab onto my vest pocket or my jeans pocket. So maybe that's one of the reasons why the former owner, you know, got rid of it. I don't know. But anyhow, we were just talking about the very restrictive Spyderco warranty. Well, I looked up Kershaw's website, and it just so happens they have Canadian division in the province neighboring BC in Alberta, in a town called Lethbridge. And I went on their website, and they absolutely list all the knives that they have sold here in Canada. And once you put the model number in, there's a list of parts, replaceable parts. And I just said, hey, I need a new pocket clip. You know, and I put the model number in, and I found the section for pocket clip. I didn't need screws. It's not broken, just doesn't hold the knife anymore. And that was last week. I got home from work today, and there was some mail, an envelope from Alberta, from Kershaw. Thank you for your support of Kershaw and zero tolerance products. And I opened it up. What does it say? It says, here are your parts. Right? There's the model number. It says pocket clip only. And their little bag is a brand new pocket clip. No questions asked. That is awesome, right? This is a great little pamphlet. I'll be hanging on to that. Some good photos of Kershaw and zero tolerance knives on there. Here's the info. If anybody out there wants to get a hold of Kershaw Canada, that's what I did. Awesome. Awesome. I'm so happy with that. So I'm going to put that new pocket clip on right now. You just bear with me a moment. I got my Weehaw Torx driver here. So yeah, I thought, you know, Spyderco, I love my Spyderco knives. And I've never had an issue with one where I felt compelled to reach out for warranty. You know, and I've owned, you know, everybody who watches my channel knows how good buck knives is when you have a problem. Again, you know, they are more than happy to replace parts or a blade, or, you know, clean up your old knife for, you know, 10 bucks. They don't say, hey, you've been using this knife, you know, forget you. I mean, if it's completely beyond repair, they'll let you know, and they'll give you a sweet deal on a new knife. You know, if they can't replace it and they have to give you a different model or something, you know, like, but Kershaw, they didn't even ask any questions. They just sent me, and I can see that how bent that one is, right? You can see that. So let's get this new one on here. See how good my skills are at putting these little tiny screws back in there. Probably gonna have an issue with it. If you want to look away, I don't blame you. Probably should have done 2 separate videos for this. We shall see. But yeah, you know, the amount of money people spend on Spydercos for a made in USA product. I'm not trying to bash them. I love my Spydercos, like I said. I was just disappointed in their warranty. You know, so I'm just gonna hit pause now. Once I get this, I'll start the video again. All right, so I'm back here. I got the new clip on, and it is much better. That should grab onto my pocket, no problem. So you can see how the other one rode quite high. I should, you know, do a shout out to Knife Delights, Tom, the 2 for Tuesday. You know, I haven't talked to you for quite some time, Tom. I do watch your videos. So hope everything is well with you and Mrs. Knife Delights down in your neck of the woods. I did put a nice little lanyard on this Kershaw as well. So fully functional pocket clip as well as spring assist. So 2 for Tuesday, made in the US, Kershaw Blur, Kershaw Dividend. There you have it. All right, so I'm back here. I got the new clip on, and it is much better. That should grab onto my pocket, no problem. So you can see how the other one rode quite high. I should, you know, do a shout out to Knife Delights, Tom, the 2 for Tuesday. You know, I haven't talked to you for quite some time, Tom. I do watch your videos. So hope everything is well with you and Mrs. Knife Delights down in your neck of the woods. I did put a nice little lanyard on this Kershaw as well. So fully functional pocket clip as well as spring assist. So 2 for Tuesday, made in the US, Kershaw Blur, Kershaw Dividend. There you have it.